Welcome to the Behind the Girl Boss podcast, where every woman's journey takes center stage. Join us in this safe space as we explore the ins and outs of business, career, mental health, the music industry, and more. Whether you're a go-getter or a dream chaser, we've got stories for you. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok for an exclusive backstage pass. Get ready to be inspired, empowered, and entertained. Welcome to the ride. Hey everyone, what's up and welcome back to the podcast. Happy September. It's actually crazy that September is literally here. Like, hello, it's insane. It's crazy. Fall is literally right around the corner. Honestly, Montreal has been feeling like such fall weather lately, or like for the past 2 days. And it's been so nice. If you know me, you know fall is my absolute favorite weather, favorite season, favorite everything. Like, I just love fall so much, and I'm so excited that it's here, but it also makes me sad because that means like winter and snow is also around the corner. But we'll just soak in the moment that fall is here, and I'm ready for like the crisp air. I'm ready for the leaves to change colors. I'm ready to step and crunch on the leaves. Like, I'm just so excited. Um but yeah, that's about it. No other really big life updates or anything to share at the moment. So let's just dive into our mantra of the day. Today's mantra is: this moment has purpose. This season of your life has a meaningful part in your story. The divine is adding beauty to your journey and restoring peace to your soul. I thought this was a good mantra to have since we're transitioning from summer to fall. And I just like to think that every season has a journey ahead, and I'm just excited for what the remainder of 2024 has in store for me. And yeah, so this moment has purpose. This season of your life has a meaningful part in your story. The divine is adding beauty to your journey and restoring peace to your soul. Love that. I hope it resonates with you in some shape or form. But let's jump into today's episode. On the podcast today, we have Samantha Zink. Samantha is the founder of Zink Talent, which is a globally recognized talent management company, and she is very knowledgeable in the ins and outs of the creator economy. Samantha specifically works with fashion and beauty influencers and has facilitated hundreds of deals between them and big brands that include Marc Jacobs, Ralph Lauren, Charlotte Tilbury, Too Faced, UGG, and so much more. Today on the podcast, we talked about being a female entrepreneur, how self-discovery began the journey to her becoming her own boss. We spoke all about things in the influencer marketing, where she thinks the industry is heading next, and a little bit of brand deals and how to manage clients and maintain a business in the creator economy. It was a really interesting conversation, especially as someone who works as a creator and with creators, but not on the side of getting people brand deals and things like that. It was interesting to have a different point of view and kind of see how it works overall when someone is signed to an agency. It was such a fun conversation. And if you're into anything to do with the creator economy, influencer marketing, this episode is for you, and just keep on listening. Hey everyone, what's up and welcome back to the podcast. So we have another guest with us and we have Samantha. So hi Samantha.
Hi, how's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me on. I'm so excited.
Me too. Do you want to start off by telling us a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Samantha. I'm the CEO and founder of Zink Talent. Zink Talent is a boutique influencer management agency. And I also have a podcast as told by Zink. And I have a long-term partner with Cyber Smile to combat cyberbullying. So I'm a few different buckets. I'm always busy, but my main thing is just being the founder of Zing Talent.
Yeah, I love that. And I'm excited to get into all that with you. But before we do that, I like to do little hot seat segments, kind of just break the ice and know little fun facts. So I do know that you live between New York and LA, but if you can move anywhere right now in the world, other than those two places, where would you go?
I have been craving water. Just like I see a lot of my clients who live in like the suburbs or just even like Minnesota, right? And they're like on the water and boat, like just all over. I don't know. It's just the small town life seems nice. I wouldn't do it, but it definitely seems, I guess maybe somewhere by a lake or a river or Florida. Just I've been craving water this summer.
Yeah, I feel that, especially being in like big cities. I feel like having that like small town vibe is just like something that you probably crave all the time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm always just, I feel like the older I get, the more I'm like, oh, I just want to like live on the water somewhere and boat every weekend.
Yeah, no, I feel that. The next one is do you have a life mantra or motto that you live by?
Yeah, I have a few. My two top right now is in time this too shall pass. And then another one that I've been loving recently is the universe is doing this for me and not to me.
Yes.
I
No, I
have
love
to keep
those.
reminding myself that.
Yeah, no, I love those. Especially the first one. I have a tattoo. Like my first ever tattoo is all shall pass. So very spot on.
Yeah, it's a good reminder when you're like in the thick of it and you're like, ah, you just
Yeah,
remind yourself it'll pass and all will be well and you're going through it for a reason.
100%. And then the last one is who's a celebrity or creator that always keeps you inspired?
I mean, just celebrities in general, I feel like I always look up to like they're gorgeous, they're killing it, they're doing so much. But I can't really relate to them.
Yeah.
Whereas like I guess content creators, I always really love content creators in Europe. I find even like Copenhagen, I find their style to be really
Yeah.
cool. I know fashion isn't super big in terms of partnerships right now with social media. We're definitely all things beauty, which I'll get into, I'm sure, more later. But I just love a girl with cool fashion. I don't have
Yeah.
anyone that I can drop right now, but just anyone who really is true to their style and they have fun with it. And I love European style.
Yeah, no, 100%. And going off of that and talking about social media, on your own socials, you do share a lot about your life and what you do. But is there anything that you don't share that you do for fun for yourself that people may not know about?
This has been a realization for me recently that I am going to start posting more behind the scenes of my life on TikTok. I feel like on Instagram, I just throw photos on there, but to see the life of an entrepreneur or a business owner or anyone who's in this industry,
Mhm.
I think is really cool. You know, consumers, followers, people on social media don't want to see brands anymore. They're
Yeah.
like, okay, like I can't really relate to a brand. I want to see the person behind the brand.
Yeah.
So I have decided that, you know, in the coming months, I am going to share more day in the lives and just who I am as a person. I would say I'm definitely a young spirit. I am always doing fun things. I'm traveling the world. So there is so much to share that I don't post. And mostly because I'm living in the moment too.
Mhm.
I'm not the girl who's like out being like, we need to make TikToks, even though I feel like I need to start being that person to show that a CEO isn't wearing a pantsuit with no life. You know, there's CEOs who are in their 20s and 30s. And I think we're the next generation or a new generation of CEOs, and it's cool to see what we do our day to
Yeah.
day.
No, 100%. And I love watching videos like that. It's always so fun to just see like how different everyone's like day in the life is and just yeah, just like seeing the behind the scenes is always fun.
Yeah, I think it's really cool just seeing like a CEO and I'm like, oh my gosh, you're doing cool things of just like behind the scenes because
Yeah.
that's sort of like you know, people don't share that unless someone comes out with a book and they're like, this is how I built my business.
Mhm.
Now it's cool to watch on TikTok, like, oh no, this is what you're doing.
Yeah.
I just find this to be so interesting and inspiring.
Yeah, 100%. And growing up, did you always see yourself working in like the influencer marketing world, or did you have like a different path in mind for yourself?
I knew I was always going to be in PR. Before I started my business, I was living in New York City doing fashion and beauty and lifestyle PR. And to be completely transparent with you, it was because I didn't do well in school. And it's not because I wasn't intelligent, it was because I did not care and my priorities were not in order. I loved partying. I loved going, you know, fraternity parties and sorority parties and just enjoying my freedom.
Mhm.
And I didn't really love having to learn, you know, academics. I was like, I just really do not resonate with classical music or art or algebra or anything like that. So I chose the easy route, which was public relations. I
Yeah.
grew up watching The Hills. So I was like, okay, I'm moving to New York. I'm going to do PR. And I did it and I loved it. But I came to find out that it was a really toxic environment, just like the Devil Wears Prada.
Yeah.
And I was severely overworked and underpaid. Just there's no money in that industry, and no one told me in college. So I was kind of fighting for my life in New York. But I never knew I was going to be a CEO. I'm a very intuitive person. So, one New York Fashion Week in 2017, while I was working in PR, I had this intuitive thought. It was
Hmm.
almost like Morgan, it's funny. I see TikToks with Morgan Freeman just being so motivational, and you can almost like hear his voice. It's like that little voice inside of you that tells you to do XYZ. Everyone has that little voice inside of them, but most people don't listen to the little voice, right? And so I do. I listen to my intuition all the time, and whatever the universe tells me to do, I go for it that same day. So yeah, the universe told me to manage influencers, and I blinked and I had a full blown agency.
No, I love that. It's such a cool story. Can you share a little bit more of like your self-discovery journey that you went on that led you to this whole new world that you're in now?
Yeah, I feel like my 20s was just discovering myself in every way possible. I am still trying to figure out myself, right? But in my 20s, it was just a lot of fun. In New York, I live in Los Angeles full time now, but in New York, it was a lot of like you're hustling and then a lot of play, and you do not rest. Like, I don't think I rested the entire time living there, and it made me the strongest version of myself to like
Mhm.
climb the corporate ladder, be the best that I can be. But also, I catch me at happy hour after work. I was a social butterfly. I was doing so many fun things. So I was trying to sort of just, have self discovery in my 20s, but also I wasn't thinking about it much. I was really living in the moment and just having fun. And I think that was super important for me.
Yeah.
And then once I turned 30, I honestly was starting to learn more about myself and what I wanted, not just being a people pleaser and not just following the crowd and saying yes to everything. And I really found out like what makes me happy, what my passions are, what my goals are, where I want my future to go. And I just had this clarity come over me. So
Hmm.
in my 20s, it was a lot of learnings, a lot of toxic relationships. I was definitely spending more money than I was making. I was living that like New York City lifestyle, and it's kind of funny, but I wouldn't change a thing. And now in my 30s is like when I'm like, who is Samantha? And every single year is so transitional for me.
Hmm.
I am just, if you do not serve me in my life, you're out. If you do not make me happy, you're out. I'm not going to date people just to date people. I'm not going to settle. I'm so intentional with my time, my career, my business. I would say 20s was just so confusing. And now 30s, I'm like, okay, this is how life is supposed to be.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot. Like being in my 20s too, I'm always like, oh my God, like I don't really know what I'm doing half the time. But so many people have told me like your 20s is for like discovering yourself, and your 30s is when like you kind of know who you are, and like that's when your life kind of changes. That's what I've heard.
Yeah, and I wish I could tell more people to just have fun in their 20s. Like, I wasn't thinking about much. I was like, oh, you're going out? I'll go out with you. I
Hmm.
think your 20s, you'll never get your 20s back. So
Yeah.
I hate seeing people who turn like 30s, 40s, and then they never got to live in their 20s because they were just chasing a career and like wanting and so focused on the future and who they thought they should be. But you should be out and like having fun and having late nights and feeling tired and feeling confused. I think that's the best part about your 20s, because one day you'll have children and a family and you'll be settled down, whatever settling down looks like to you. And you'll be like, wow, I wish I got to live in my 20s because I can't now. So I
Yeah.
think 20s are for just having fun and going with the flow and doing what you want and just
Yeah.
trying things, failing at things. Who knows?
Yeah. No, 100%. Like you said before, you're the founder of Zink Talent. How did you come up with the whole idea? And what does your agency currently offer people?
This is kind of a full circle moment, right? I didn't realize I was a leader all in my 20s working at agencies. But now looking back, I'm like, whoa, I was such a leader. I'm
Mhm.
going to explain this. So when I was in PR in New York City, influencers were starting to like be on the rise. But this was like 2013, 2014, 2015. So influencers and bloggers were around,
Mhm.
but brands were not really paying them. They were like starting to dabble with it a little bit. But at every agency, my clients and my bosses wanted us to get our clients in glossy magazines. Think Vogue, Harper's Bazaar, People Magazine, Elle, Condé Nast, and what other ones were out there. There were so many magazines at that time, and I loved it because that was how I knew PR. I didn't really know influencers, but then the more the years started going, these magazines were folding, and I was like, oh my god, what's happening? They were like, Lucky magazine folded, this magazine folded, and there was like no magazines left. So it made our job increasingly harder as the months went on, but our bosses were just like had a blind eye to it. Like they knew what was going on, but they weren't pitching like us. And I loved social media. I was a girl in my 20s. I loved watching bloggers at that time,
Yeah.
traveling the world. I loved New York City influencers in 2015 who had their like Celine bags or their Birkins, and I
Mhm.
literally could barely afford Zara. I loved that. And I was like, I want to be you. I had a feeling influencers were going to blow up quite quickly. And I told all of these agencies, you need to listen to me. Like, we cannot be
Mhm.
pitching our clients to magazines. They're not adding them in anymore. It's becoming so difficult because all of the writers are being laid off. Like, the media landscape is changing so rapidly before our eyes. We need to work with influencers. This is how you're going to market to millennials and then soon Gen Z. And none of my agencies would listen to me, right? And I mean, some of the agencies even fired me because
Wow.
I didn't love their ideas. I'm like, these are horrible ideas. And then my last agency, I actually got to work with influencers, which I loved. They let me work on campaigns. I worked with all of my favorite bloggers like Teza and Bridget. This is 2017. And it was like finally amazing, but still a toxic work environment, and I still wasn't making any money to survive. Then one New York Fashion Week, how I mentioned before, just being on the subway, I had that idea. I was like, I can manage influencers. And there wasn't a lot of agencies around. I think DBA had been around, but there's so many more agencies now. I would say it was definitely one of the first people to start doing this. And I started taking my network of influencers like out to coffee and pitch them the idea. I'm like, hey, listen, we don't have to be exclusive, but I'm going to start managing influencers and I feel like I can make you a lot of money. And they were like, yeah, absolutely. And I started building my roster of clients that way. So I would quite literally be at my 9 to 5 of building my business, but while working my 9 to 5, walking the room. I mean, it was risky. I could have lost my job at any moment, but I had to build a business and it was so exciting. And I had zero roadmap, by the
Mhm.
way. I winged the entire thing. I had a pretty good idea from being in PR, what an agency looks like.
Yeah.
I know I need an email. I know I need to have a website and Instagram. Like I knew the groundwork. And then I would listen to podcasts of other entrepreneurs coming on and just speaking their journey. And I would just feel so inspired. And I started building at it little by little. So my agency is a full-blown agency today. It's not just myself. I have agents. We have over 60 clients globally. And it's changed a lot from last year. Even our clients look different every single year because trends are changing
Yeah.
so rapidly. Like it's just a new wave of creators every single year. And then especially this year, I would say the past 2 years, brands have been wanting to work with TikTok way more than they ever did before because they were nervous to hop on TikTok. Just,
Yeah.
there wasn't really a way to track the ROI, but now they just want to be in front of Gen Z and sell to Gen Z. So yeah, our clients look different all the time. It's a just ever changing industry. You never know what's going to be trending or popular. And I think that makes it fun.
Yeah.
More so stressful for creators individually because you always have to evolve. But as an agency, we're always working with like fresh faces and new types of creators every year, which I personally enjoy.
Yeah. And you spoke about how nowadays there's a lot more agencies that are popping up for like influencer management. How do you make sure that you kind of stand out and people want to work with you versus others?
The craziest thing is there's so many influencers to go around.
Yeah.
It just there's just TikTok, everyone's an influencer. And
Hmm.
micro influencers are huge right now too. So I we've never had an issue, all of us like agencies of like, oh, there's not enough creators. There's so many creators that we us agencies haven't even tapped into everybody.
Hmm.
But to just set myself apart, we have full visibility. So a lot of agencies will have they would have like inbox for their clients, right? Or they need inbound emails going to them, meaning like the client doesn't know what is inbound from them, the client being the influencer,
Yeah.
or what is pitched by the agency. For us, I say, you know what, we're amazing, we do a great job, and I want you to see how good we are. So you're going to have a shared inbox with us, and then you can also see what we pitch on our end. So you can see that we're bringing in at least 2 to 3 plus times as much that is coming inbound from you.
Hmm.
And so I think that our success and our numbers speak for itself. And then a lot of the time it's word of mouth and just people recommending us and just being passionate. I think that goes a long way. We're very passionate about what we do. We love what we do, and also we are kind of 24/7. We have group chats with all of our clients, so we're family style. I do not email my clients. We are all in a group chat. So yes, I have over 60 group chats on my
Wow.
phone.
No, I love that
Yeah.
though. I
So
feel
we
like it's more
don't want it to
personable.
feel, yeah, we don't want it to feel like a traditional like agency. It's like, no, we're your best friends. Like we're close. We want to grow together.
Yeah, and I think that makes it easier too on your end when you're like trying to pitch brands or something like that. Like you know the influencer more personably than just like what they post online and like what you see. I feel like you build like a relationship and like friendship with them.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And how do
Yeah.
you go about like choosing which influencers to reach out to? Or do you have like a specific like niche of like influencers that you work with, or is they kind of like all over?
All over. I love having a diverse agency. That's super important for me
Hmm.
personally. So I don't want people to look at my roster and be like, oh, wow, it looks like 60 of the same person.
Yeah.
No, I work with everybody. I love working with a diverse roster. And this is like even diverse content,
Yeah.
of like, I don't want to just be working with a bunch of fashion girls. I like when people post a little bit of everything. And we also work with creators all over the world. So we have creators in the US, Canada, Europe, and Australia. For me, right now, we have been definitely tapping into the micro market. And this is just creators who have maybe around 50,000 followers. Brands have loved micro creators as of recently because they're trying to spread out their budget as much as
Hmm.
possible. And also, I've been signing some corporate girlies. I think I've never done this before until this year because usually all of the influencers like they wanted to be an influencer, right? So they actually just didn't have a 9 to 5 job. They're like, I am a true influencer. Here I am, like no job. This is it.
Hmm.
And then TikTok changed the game because I swear to God, everyone's getting a following. It is a wild. So I've been really trying to work with like, which I think is so fun, is just the corporate girlies. So they're part-time content creators, full-time like 9 to 5s, and they share day in the lives, and they're so much more relatable.
Hmm.
And I think right now what's trending is people want to follow women and men that they can relate to, not who they're like inspired by or like, I mean, I know we're the Birkin is just trending like crazy, but which is always fun to watch. But
Yeah.
I feel like consumers are gravitating towards like, oh no, this is the corporate girl who's wearing J. Crew. I can be this person. I am this person. This is who I want to follow. And
Yeah.
so we've been sending a ton of people who just fit in that category, and I love it too. And it's cool because they're not relying on content creation
Mm.
to survive. I mean, it's just kind of like a side hustle and a passion project, which makes it fun for everybody.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I feel like for myself too, I used to follow like shopping like on Fifth Avenue and like Rodeo Drive, like that's what I used to follow. And now like the people that I tend to follow are just people that I can relate to or like I see myself in or I'm like, oh, like they're fun. Like I would just like hang out with them like on a random day. Like so I definitely get that. Like the whole relatability thing has become like a lot bigger the past few years.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, don't get me wrong. I am like loving the people that are, I'm also older, I'm 34. So it's like, I'm at a stage where I want to see the Birkins. Like,
Yeah.
I want to see people traveling the world. But when I was 25, it was just, I would go to my office job and be like, I just felt so disconnected from
Mhm.
that person
Yeah.
who was doing that. I'm like, I want to see like what pieces I can get at Zara or J. Crew, or like I want to see, what people are doing in New York City because that's where I am. I can't take a flight to Europe. So I think like especially in your 20s, like you want to be able to relate to people. You don't
Mhm.
want to like feel discouraged or that your life isn't worthy like theirs is.
Yeah.
We just all have all different paths and walks of life, and that's okay. Just because somebody is in Ibiza right now showing her mini Kelly doesn't mean that you don't have an amazing life as well.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. What are some misconceptions that you've seen or heard about the influencer like marketing world that you like know that are wrong?
So I would say that influencing is an easy job. It is not, and it's a lot of work to create this content. And a lot of our clients have multiple partnerships a month, 5 partnerships a month. I've seen creators with up to 10 partnerships a month. They just love saying yes. And they have to create content, follow a brief, meaning that they don't have full creative control. The brands have creative control. It takes the fun out of it because they're literally going down this brief saying exactly what the brand wants them to say, doing exactly what the brand wants them to do. They hand in the content and the brand can come back and say, no, we need all of this refilmed. So it's not like, oh, I'm just going to receive my beautiful clothes and get paid thousands of dollars and I just post what I want. Absolutely not. There's so much back and forth. It's insane. There's so much work that goes into the post that people are seeing. You only see the finished product, but there's a lot of like things happening behind the scenes that you aren't aware of. And I can't really speak for influencers. A lot of comparison game and mental health issues. What this be, I'm not saying that influencers are full-blown depressed, right? I'm just
Yeah.
saying that when you're in a saturated space and everyone's an influencer and you are competing with all of these people, you're of course going to be doing the comparison game. Look at their numbers, look at their partnerships, like why can't I be like them? Or just like feeling down on yourself if your engagement's low, right? The algorithm is always messing with us. So someone can have like months of low engagement and it's not even their fault. And a lot of the time the creators are getting down on themselves because it's exhausting. It is exhausting to just always want to be the best and do well in this career. And it's not easy. I feel bad for creators. Also, there's a lot of, I'm very passionate about this, or I should say ending this, but there's a lot of cyberbullying that's happening. And I know this is kind of like not exactly what you were asking, but what people don't know is creators are getting bullied like an insane amount. Like
Yeah.
creators are wanting to end their lives. I'm not even kidding. And I think Chris Olsen, if anyone
Yes.
listening to this podcast wants more insight here, go to Chris Olsen's social media, take a look at his last few posts. He has millions and millions and millions of followers. He's getting cyberbullied so bad. He's coming on the app crying, saying he wants to end his life. He just wanted to have social media to connect with people and to share comedic content and have fun and find passion in this. And he got bullied so bad that he's like not even posting on the app right now. And he's like going through a really hard time. I want people to watch his content and understand that cyberbullying is not okay. These people have a heartbeat. They're not just like untouchable.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who end their lives because of bullying, and it's not okay. So everyone's like, oh, their life's glamorous. They don't care if they get bullied. They have everything handed to them. Like, no, that's not the case. That they're real people. They have feelings, they have depression, they have anxiety, they have issues just like everyone else. We need to be a little bit more kinder to each other on the internet and not
Yeah.
bully people through a computer screen or an iPhone screen. So
Yeah, no, 100%.
I feel really passionate about changing that.
Yeah, I feel like people, it's so much easier to cyberbully because people just comment something and then they forget that they commented and like go on with their day, but like they don't realize that people are sitting there reading like comment after comment, like being rude to them. And sometimes like the Chris Olsen thing, like I just saw it like a few days ago and it was just like so sad. And like even after him like posting those videos and being vulnerable, you look at the comments and there's still people being rude and like making fun of him. And I just like don't understand how someone can like do that and like feel good about it. It doesn't like make sense. And that happens to so many people. Like sometimes I'm literally like there's like 12-year-olds on the app that are getting bullied. I don't understand how people do that.
I've been trying to figure it out myself, but I don't know. I'm just afraid that people are going to do it until something bad happens, and people are very, very close of
Yeah.
ending their lives, and it breaks my heart. And I wish I could do everything in the world to stop it. I wish TikTok was figuring something out to stop it. I don't know.
Yeah, I think there needs to be like more like laws and like things around it because I feel like because people can bully someone online from like anywhere in the world, there's not enough control over it and it makes it just easier to do so. So I think there needs to be like something in place. I don't personally know what, but I think there definitely needs to be something.
No, I mean, I absolutely agree. I mean, TikTok will hide somebody's post if their arm's showing because it's nudity,
Yeah.
right? But when there's bullying, oh my gosh, they push those videos.
Yeah.
Whenever I see bullying, people are actually attacking people from reality TV or whatever it may be.
Hmm.
I see that TikTok is actually like making those posts go viral, which is
Yeah.
what blows my mind. TikTok is to blame. Reality TV is to blame. And they just want the money, I guess. I don't know. It's all transactional to them where they don't care about people's lives,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
And even like there are like unfortunately some people who have like taken their own lives due to like cyberbullying. And I feel like people talk about it for like a week and then they're like they forget about it until like the next one happens. And it's really sad.
Yeah, I think that's honestly the biggest one for me is just misconceptions that influencers, guess what? They are real people.
Yeah.
Just like everyone else. And we need, like, they have an opportunity to make the stream of income and do cool things. Yes. But it doesn't mean that they deserve to be bullied. And they don't, not all of them live unrealistic lifestyles.
Yeah.
A lot of my clients are not in Europe right now. Like they're just doing normal people things.
Hmm. Yeah. I think people
So
forget that.
yeah, like they're normal people. I do think for a while, yes, influencers were a little unrealistic. I think that around when they started blowing up, especially with like the first round of YouTube
Yeah.
creators, where you're like seeing them travel all over. And I think there was a few years and maybe 2016, 2017, where you're like looking at creators and you're like, I cannot relate to you. But I think right now, 2024, more than ever, creators are relatable,
Yeah.
and they just are like us. So I think it's cool to see this new wave of creators.
Yeah, 100%. So going a little bit back to your business, working for yourself, how do you kind of make sure that you have time for yourself and take time away from your business? And it's not like a regular 9 to 5 job. So like you can be working at any hour basically. So how do you make sure that you kind of stop working at some point and like take time to just relax and do things for you?
I mean, what a good question. Have you been listening to my podcast? Where you just
No, I
I
feel
feel like
like
I've been like going through this recently, and
it's hard.
yeah, I was going to say, I just, on my podcast, I share sort of like my journey, like the past 2 years. Like, if I'm going through anything or I have a learning, I like hop on there and
Mhm.
share because I'm like, maybe someone can resonate with this. I don't really, I just sort of share what's going on in my life. But For a long time, especially in the beginning of the business, I was willing to do anything and I had a lot of balance. Like I said, I was working and then I would go and have fun with my friends. So I never really felt that like moment of drowning.
Hmm.
Then the further I get into my career as a CEO, I would say the past year in particular has definitely been testing me, challenging me. And there's some nights that I was working until 10 p.m. There were some nights I couldn't eat lunch. You're always stressed out.
Yeah.
I wake up at 3 in the morning every night, and that's just the truth of the matter. You have employees that you want to make sure are happy.
Yeah.
Because if your employees aren't happy, they'll leave. And then that you need to make happy. And guess what? They have a question. Who do they come to? They don't come to the agent. They come to me, the CEO, because I am very hands-on
Hmm.
and I'm very involved. So they're like, oh, I have questions. I'm gonna text Samantha. And it could be 9 p.m. at night, it could be a Saturday, it could be something that the agent can handle, and they still text. So it's very much a part of my life, and I realize I'm in it so deep that it's only going to get worse.
Yeah.
And things happen all the time. Like hiccups happen, challenges happen, and a big learning for me is that if anything seems to be going wrong or not my way, or the universe is challenging me in some sort of, there's always a reason, right? If the
Hmm.
universe is challenging me being a CEO, and I have to stay resilient and I have to stay strong because there's a reason that I'm going through that challenge at that time.
Yeah.
And I've learned that professionally. Oh gosh, I've been challenged with being a CEO so much. It wears you down. But if you're
Hmm.
resilient, you'll see that the universe is having you go through something because there's going to be a blessing on the other side. Don't know what that is, but when you do know, you're like, oh, I had to go through this or remove these people or do this because I needed to get to here, which is the blessing, the success, the
Yeah.
happiness. Another thing that I realized too is just the opportunities that come with being a CEO. I wanted to have my own business because I wanted financial freedom and I wanted
Yeah.
to travel and do whatever I wanted. And a learning for me too is money and tangible materialistic items do not bring happiness. Shocker. Didn't know
Yeah.
that one when I was seeing everyone in 2015 in New York City with their Celine bags. I was like, wow, she must be so dang
Yeah.
happy. No, does not bring happiness. You have this like short term high. You're
Hmm.
like, oh, I have a new Prada bag and I worked so hard for it. But
Yeah.
then it's gone. The only thing that can really bring happiness into your life is moments, experiences. Are you like mentally okay? Are you doing things for you? I just think that it's important to do what makes you happy in terms of passions and taking moments for yourself and always working on your mental health, whether this is like meditation, therapy, yoga, girls' nights, whatever it might be. Just always work on your mental health and your happiness and realize that all of these girlies that you're seeing dancing on the table in Ibiza right now, it's a short-term happiness, but it's not going to like, right? So that's kind of a learning that I had when I finally was able to purchase things that I always dreamt of. And yeah, I'm always challenged and I get an entrepreneur itch too. That's something new. I just want to keep starting like new things. I'm like,
Hmm.
don't like, what is going on? Like, just be happy with Zink Talent. I'm like, I want to start this, and I
Yeah.
want to do this project. Like, because again, you have short term highs of like, wow, I
Hmm.
started this, I did this. I'm just going through the ebbs and flows, the journey. It's been different every year. It's not easy. It's not for the weak, but I wouldn't have it any other way. It's the coolest thing to have something all your own that you worked so hard
Yeah.
for and to see it like grow and flourish and blossom and turn into something greater than you've ever imagined, right? But here's the key. Always do good in the world too.
Hmm.
So I'm in my like I'm starting to work with nonprofits and like wanting to do things outside of being such a transactional agency. Like yes,
Yeah.
I'm empathetic and I love my clients, but we're working on collaborations and so I can pay my team and the business can grow, but I want to do cool things and help people. And I think that in such a transactional world, more people should be helping and doing good in the world.
Yeah.
You just have to find like what makes you passionate. my mom was always like, you should you should do all these things. And she was passionate about the ocean. And I never found my thing until the cyberbullying. And I was like, I'm so passionate about ending this. And it all connected together. So I think that life is just a beautiful journey, and being a CEO is not easy. Gosh, I do work 7 days a week. I was working yesterday, but I do take time for myself. I was also, tanning by the pool and like going to the movies and doing
Yeah.
normal people life. But I will never have like that fully present life. And I can't shut off. I will never have a 9 to 5. I work 7 days a week and
Mhm.
all day, every day. And it's a lot. It's not for the weak. You have to be a special type of person and
Yeah,
accept your
100%.
life. And when I'm a wife and parent, I also have to realize like I'm not going to be like fully present.
Mhm.
Not in a like a depressing way, but as in like,
It just
the
comes with
mom's the
the career,
CEO.
yeah.
You have to find your balance and figure it out
Yeah.
along the way. I won't know until I have kids, and then it's just being aware,
Yeah.
I would
Like,
say.
that it's not going to be like that and you don't expect it to be like a certain way. So I think just like going into
Mhm.
like that new life whenever it does come for you, you're already aware of it. So it's just like you said, like you won't actually know how it's going to go until you're in it. You can't plan
Yeah.
that out.
Exactly. And that's why I'm always transparent with people about the CEO thing and like when I go through challenges, because I'm like, I don't want people to just like be a CEO and think like, oh, wow, my life has changed and everything's amazing. No, you're going to have challenges, and it is not for the weak. It is
Yeah.
the hardest thing ever. But guess what? It is all my own, and I've worked so hard for it. And I'm so grateful for everything that it's brought me. And to have employees is the craziest thing.
Hmm.
And like, I was an employee once in PR, like that was me. How do
Yeah.
I have employees now? It's really cool. But yeah, it's definitely not something that I think a lot of people think it's like overnight success, and then your life changes, and then you're just like on a boat, just, in the south of France, just enjoying your life. Like, no, like you have to be working at it every day to make sure everybody's happy. And it goes from being, when I first started, how can I be successful, happy, and at bliss at this? And then it moved from that to being like, how can I make my clients and employees happier?
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you're the right CEO, that's sort of how your mind should shift, is like, it's not about me anymore. It's about all of these people I have to take care
Yeah.
of.
Yeah. a
And
hundred
with
percent.
all of these people comes a huge responsibility.
Mhm. Yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, I love that you're open about it too and the struggles because I also have my own business. And at first, when it wasn't looking how other people's businesses looked, I was always like, oh, like, what am I doing wrong? Like, these people look like everything's so successful so quickly and they don't have anything going wrong with like their things. But then I had to realize like people just share mostly the highs that they have and people don't talk about the lows and the struggles that come with it. So I do like appreciate you being open about that because it's not easy and it doesn't just happen overnight like people make it seem like it does.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, a lot of people see my business now and they're like, "Oh wow, you're doing so well. You have such a successful talent agency." But I never had a loan and I never had investors. So
Mhm.
I worked at it 2017, and I didn't have my first salaried employee until 2021. But I was okay with that.
Yeah.
But I was also super scrappy, by the way. So I realized that I hired freelance people. I would hire interns who were in college because it was all I could afford.
Mhm.
And I would teach them senior level work. I'm not even kidding. But because that's all I could afford. And I'm like, you know what? I bet you I could turn this intern into like a senior level agent. And I
Mhm.
did. And I just was super scrappy about my journey. And I think like a lot of people just seem like, oh, I started a business and it was successful from day one. Like, no,
Mhm.
you have to go through years. And so many people give up when it's
Yeah.
year one and they're not successful. They're like, I'm done with this. Oh my God, that breaks my heart, because there's so much more to go. You have to like really prove yourself and lay out the groundwork and like work at it year after year before you start seeing a successful model of it.
Yeah, 100%. So last part of my podcast, I asked people on Instagram to ask you questions and I picked two of my favorite ones. So the first one is, what is your favorite self-care activity?
Yeah, I love this because it ties into me balancing my life.
Mhm.
So my favorite self-care activity is okay, I love the movies.
Me
And I
too.
know you guys are like, oh, she's gonna say like heated Pilates, cool, so cycle, cool. But I will like straight up go to the movies by myself. I've been to the movies the past 2 weekends.
Yes. What did you see?
And last weekend, yeah, 2 weekends ago, I went by myself. I saw Twisters. Last weekend, I
Mhm.
went with some girlfriends. I saw It Ends With Us. I'm a huge Colleen Hoover fan. They even have bars now at movie theaters.
Yeah.
So I will like take myself on a date. I will grab a glass of wine, my popcorn, and I'll just be by myself. I love taking myself to dinner as well. I think that's really important. I bring my dog too, just my
Hmm.
dog and I will go to dinner. And again, I'll have like this cute meal and I'll romanticize the situation. So I'm always like showing myself self love and being okay with being alone instead of having to be with a boyfriend or friends all of the time.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and you know what I think is the coolest thing? The outdoor movie theaters. Love it. Like, there's not like when you have like the whole like New York City backdrop or LA like
Yeah.
backdrop and it's a huge theater and you're on the chairs.
I
Chef's
need to go to
kiss,
one of those. They
honestly.
don't have them where I live. I don't think.
Oh, they're so cool. I love it. Yeah, I know it's such a weird answer, but it makes me happy going to the movies.
No, I love that. I watch movies all the time. I literally was at the movies the other day and I went to see Longlegs and like I don't know, just like being in the movie theater and like it's just I feel like it helps me like escape my own life for a little bit because like you're watching something and like you're in a different like reality. So I don't know. I love them too.
Yeah, and you get to like get like your favorite snacks that make you happy. Like
Yes.
I said, like I will have a glass of white wine, my popcorn, some Swedish fish.
Hmm.
Like I am just like happy as a camper.
I love that.
Happy camper. Yeah.
And then the last question is, what do you think is the biggest mistake brands make when working with influencers?
Oh, I love this one. Strategy. Brands have like zero strategy working with influencers. And which I don't care because right, pay me. It's fine.
Yes.
It's your money, not mine. But it doesn't affect me, but it breaks my heart when I see a bunch of brands going under because they're misusing their marketing dollars.
Yeah.
I think it's really important to not just work with any influencer because you follow the influencer or because you know an agency. Like, I think that brands really need to sit down and map out, like,
Hmm.
do research and map out a diverse roster for your campaign. I want to see a bunch of people. I want them to all look different. I want them to have different followings. So on macro, micro, make sure that they're in the locations that you need. So if you're a brand and you're trying to tap into Los Angeles and New York, or you have like a small town store, make sure that you check the locations of their followers because you want sales, right? Or if you want links, like if you want website traffic, make sure that they convert. So like
Yeah.
look into previous data or sales. Or if you want to sell on Amazon, take a look at their Amazon sales. Like influencers can and will show you all of this.
Hmm.
Also, yeah, get to know the creator. I think like if I was on the brand side still, I would be taking all of these creators to lunch and I'd be like having meetings with them because I want to connect with you and make sure you're passionate about my brand,
Yeah.
especially the brands in wellness, right? I don't want somebody who's like going to post a vitamin or like a green supplement and they don't really take it, they just post it. My clients do not do this. I'm so grateful that my clients really are intentional with their partnerships and they want to try before and like actively
Yeah.
use the product before they post it. But there are a lot of creators who just like want money.
Yeah.
So like I think there just needs to be a lot more strategy and making sure these creators make sense for your brand. And yes, I'm gonna go back to and say it again. Diversity, diversity,
Hmm.
diversity. We were doing so well for a while. And now when brands are trying to find creators for their campaigns, like I think that they need to actively be like working with every skin type, every single type of creator. There's a lot of creators who have disabilities
Yes.
and I just feel like let's just be more aware and not just like funnel money into random people and not have like a proper strategy.
Yeah. 100%.
I mean,
I agree.
girl, I could talk about it for hours because I see it and I'm just like, I know that there was no thought into it. And again, it doesn't affect me as a talent agency because you're going to pay me. But then I see the brands going under because, and they can't afford to pay their employees anymore because they spent all of their marketing dollars on the wrong influencers,
Mhm.
didn't get an ROI, and then they just have no money to survive.
Yeah. And some of these brands are good and like you can tell that they would do well if they like knew what they were doing. And like not that I have a big following, but I do get like some brand stuff. And sometimes people reach out and they're like, "Oh, like we're like based in the US, blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Okay, but I'm not even based in the US." So like you can tell like the brands that do their research and like take time to know who they're reaching out to versus the ones that don't.
Oh my gosh. And another thing, events. They don't have money for like collaborations, but then they have an event that makes zero sense.
Mhm.
Like, do you know how much money it is for an event? And then what do they get from having an event that they spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on? They invite influencers, and influencers are mentally like, I'm going to go so I could build a relationship to get a
Yeah.
campaign. And then what do they get from the event? They get literally nothing. They get influencers posting the cute event, but that is not leading to sales.
Yeah.
So if you have a ton of money, please, by all means, have events. Have an event a week. I do not mind. But if you have a limited budget, be smart with that.
Yeah.
And also, I think like what could help smaller brands too is UGC. I think UGC is
Mhm.
so powerful. If you don't have money for an influencer to post, have them create an ad and then just push that ad out to your targeted audience. I think that is really wise. And yeah, just be smart with your money. Oh my goodness. I just blows
Yeah.
my mind. But again, it's not my marketing dollars, so it's theirs. I just think, and I know this doesn't fall into like the people who are handling the collaborations. It's the higher
Mhm.
ups. It's
Yeah.
like the directors, the CEO. I know that the strategists of the agencies and brands. And I think that they just need to spend a little more time and love and energy into having a successful campaign and not just saying, oh, we have $30,000. Can you find X amount of influencers and then
Yeah.
we'll pay them? It's like, okay, then what? Then it's $30,000. What are you going to get? Yeah, it's brand awareness, but what? And also, as a brand, what do you need? Do you need
Mhm.
sales? Do you need content? Do you need awareness? Do you need people going into a Target or a Sephora or an Ulta? Like, let's just kind of like strategy, strategy,
Yeah.
strategy.
No, I love it. Well, that's all I had for you today. So thank you so much again for coming on and sharing all this with everyone. Before you leave, do you want to shout out any of your socials, your agency socials, people can find you, work with you?
Yeah, absolutely. So my agency is Zink Talent, super easy. And then my Instagram is Samantha Zinkovich. And yeah, if anyone has any questions, feel free to reach out. I'm an open book or check out my podcast, As Told by Zink. I honestly have like no filter. I'm full transparency. So
Love
I
that.
just, there's even an episode on there. If you are an influencer, I have two of my agents and I hop on a call and we talk about what brands are looking for this year and especially Q3 and Q4 in terms of influencers and partnerships. So we share everything on that episode. I think it's like 4 episodes back.
Awesome.
We're an open book. I don't, in such a hush hush industry, we tell it all. It doesn't need to be so secretive.
I agree. Well, thank you so much again.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to go follow Samantha on all her socials. Go check out Zink Talent if you are potentially looking for a management for anything for your creator stuff. Go check them out. If you want to follow me, please don't be shy. You can follow me either at Behind the Girl Boss or at It's Amanda Wan. You can check out my YouTube channel, It's Amanda Wan. I post every single week on there. And yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. Don't forget to subscribe or follow the podcast, leave a review, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye, guys.